Someone has taken their love of scary movies one step too far. Solving this mystery is going to be murder. Hello, folks. Welcome back to my channel. This is Horror Town. Finally back with another horror movie review. I apologize. I know it's been a while, but today's September 1st. God willing, I intend on reviewing a classic horror film, right? One of which has been mentioned countless times in horror movie circles, and I decided that I will be reviewing this first film of that franchise called Scream. But before I do so, I would like to bring your attention to another awesome YouTuber. His name is Grayson, and he and I have worked a little bit in the past on some horror movie franchises, and I would like to tell you about his reviews of the Scream movies. It's on his channel. Please check them out and support him. He's a really good YouTuber as a horror movie reviewer, as a Goosebumps book reviewer. But this time, yes, this is specific to the Scream film. So please check them out. And you won't be disappointed. He does awesome reviews, right? So really wanted to give him a little shout out before I begin myself with this review of this first film, Scream. So what is Scream about? So Scream was released in 1986, and the movie was directed by Wes Craven, who is such a talented director, and he directed this first film, which took place in in the late 90s, and it was written by Kevin Williamson, who also wrote other scary movies, who's a good screenwriter, in my opinion. And this is actually a slasher film, a horror movie slash slasher film. And it's basically, yes, for those who are not familiar with this genre, it's about usually you have a serial killer with a knife who goes around and obviously, as its title suggests, slash people, right? So this is Scream, and it took place around the late 90s. It was released at that time, and obviously Urban Legend, I Know What You Did Last Summer, or other, titles of movies that were released around the same time. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. So yes, let's move on to this movie at hand. So as I said, yes, the movie was directed by Craven and written by Williamson, and it stars David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Rose McGowan, Skeet Ulrich, as well as Drew Barrymore. And this movie is basically, it begins, you have this scary kind of, atmosphere. A young woman who's named Casey Becker is about to make some popcorn. She's about to watch a scary movie when she receives this phone call from a total stranger. And at first, she talks. She's having fun speaking to him or her about scary movies. But then eventually, this stranger turns out to be, threatening, right? So she figures out very quickly that she's dealing with a a dangerous person, right? So when she wants to hang up the phone, that person turns out to be threatening, and she's gonna be forced to play a game, right? And if she answers wrongly, she could be in danger. But I don't want to spoil too much about what happens. I don't want to spoil the experience for you if you haven't watched the movie, but this is how it begins. And then basically, obviously, the movie is going to revolve around these group of teenagers, of high school students. You have Sidney Prescott, who's basically one of the main characters of the film. And you have Billy Loomis, her boyfriend. You have their friends. You have Stu, and you have his girlfriend. Her name is Tatum, and you have the scary movie buff, the guy who likes watching scary movies. His name is Randy, and they're all going to high school, and basically they're gonna be spending some time together, and obviously something happens in this movie, which I won't tell you what it is because in case you haven't watched the movie, it's a pretty big thing. But basically, they're gonna be kind of there's going to be a lot of tension, and obviously a tragedy occurred in Sidney Prescott's life, which I don't want to spoil either, but basically it's gonna be kind of haunting, and she's gonna have a hard time dealing with things, especially with her friends, and this killer, who's going around and basically scaring this group of teenagers is unknown, so it could be anyone. And basically, everybody is a suspect pretty much. And basically, you have this reporter named Courtney. It's Courtney Cox's character. She's Gail Weathers, that's her name. And she's basically going around Sydney because of something that happened, because of this tragedy. And she's trying to, she's kind of stalking a little bit. So from all these people, you don't know who the killer is, but it could be anyone, right? So, and this is what makes it a lot scarier, because you don't know who it is, right? Because the killer, the attacker, is using a voice changer, and he's wearing a mask, which is known as ghost face, right? This white pale mask, right? And yes, kind of ghost like, I guess you could say, and with this black cape. So it's very difficult to know. It's impossible to know who it is. It could be a man, it could be a woman, and we don't know until the end of the movie, when obviously there's going to be that big kind of reveal near the end, and then the killer will be revealed. But I'm not going to tell you who it is, because I don't want to spoil it for you or for anyone who hasn't watched this film yet. So this is a spoiler-free review. So Scream is a pretty good film, in my opinion, and the fact that it takes place in the late 90s makes it all the more enjoyable, because back in the days, they were really, the horror genre was really at one of its best points, especially with the urban legend films, the I Know What You Did Last Summer, which came out a year later, which was written by the same screenwriter. It's such a good time for scary films, in my opinion, and I really enjoyed this one. And even the promotional poster in black and white with the woman here always scared me. The woman kind of shielding her, kind of muffling a scream almost with the hand on you know kind of on top, kind of trying to, not scream, keep themselves from screaming. The look of fear in their eyes is just, it's just, speechless, right? It's such a good way to promote this movie. There are other posters where you have the characters, but I've decided that this one in black and white is so good. And you have their blue eyes, you can see the blue eyes. So that person looks terrified of whatever is happening. And I think that this is a good way to promote this film, Scream, which is basically, the what happens when we're really scared, we scream. So I think that it's a good way to also, it's a good title. And the movie was supposed to be called Scary Movie, if I'm not mistaken, but it ended up being called Scream, and Scary Movie became the parody movies that are basically kind of mocking, but that's a different story, right? But Scream is a pretty good scary film. I really liked Neve Campbell in the role of Sidney Prescott. She's pretty good. She's pretty talented, and she's a Canadian actress, in case you don't know. But she has a really she has an American accent in the film, and she's really good. We have Rose McGowan, who was on other movies around that time. Rose McGowan is also a good actress. In that time, especially, she was a good actress at that in that time, and she did a good. She was the Tatum Riley, the best friend, and I didn't mention, but she has a brother named Dewey, played by David Arquette, who also was a good actor too. Who's apparently is he a wrestler in real life? I'm not sure, or some a boxer. I'm not sure, but in as an actor he's pretty good, especially there then he was pretty young. I think he was around 25 as suggested by the movie, when he's 25 as the character in the movie, so I believe that, or 26, something like that. So he's pretty young, and yet he's pretty good, right? Then we have Courtney Cox, who was in in Friends, the TV show, the sitcom. She's pretty good too. She's pretty talented in there, and she's kind of, yes, stalking a little bit. She's a little bit bad in a way. She's kind of nasty, but it's part of her character, and I did enjoy you know, the kind of tense relationship between her and Sydney. They don't love each other. There's no love lust between the two of them, as you could say. But I think that was pretty funny. Drew Barrymore, who was in E.T., the movie, I believe, and she was young back then, in this movie is pretty good, in my opinion. And we have other actors and actresses, but I believe that I mentioned the main ones. We have Skeet Ulrich, who plays Billy Loomis, was pretty good, pretty good. Matthew Lillard, of course, who played Shaggy in Scooby Doo movies a few years later, right? And we have Randy's character. I forgot his name. Isn't it here somewhere? Matthew Lillard. Darn it! I forgot Randy's actor's name. What is it again? Perhaps I could find it here. Yeah, Jamie Kennedy, no, something like that. Jamie Kennedy, I believe, yes, who was is a pretty good actor. If I'm not mistaken, it's Jamie Kennedy. And if I mess it up, I will, God willing, correct myself in the next review of the second film of the franchise. But yes, I really enjoyed this movie as the tension rises and Sydney and the focus on her. And near the end, there's a party scene, and then of course there's the big reveal near the end. I thought that was pretty good, and also the end is pretty nice too. But just a word of caution: if you don't like blood, you might want to consider watching this movie because it has got a lot of blood. It's very gory and bloody. It has a lot of profanity, right? It has a lot of bad language in it, right? So, yes, definitely not for children. It has some mature content, you might say. It's kind of, yes, it's NC-17, wasn't it, when it was released or something like that. But yes, the main theme in this movie is the violence, right? It has a lot of violence, right? A lot of violence and a lot of blood. So yes, and the killer is very scary too, and there are a lot of scenes that are just very traumatic to could be very traumatic to many people, especially some gutting scenes, some stabbings. It's definitely not the kind of movie I would want a young person to watch. Definitely wait until the usually it says that it's suitable for children, teenagers up around 16 years old, something like that. So yes, make sure to check the suiting, the age restriction, the who it's suitable for. In different countries have different laws too. I know that in the UK, I believe that it's not permissible for people under 18 years old, and in the US, I'm pretty sure that it's 16, something like that. Well, it depends, obviously. Maybe also on the state. I believe that this was shot in California. So yeah, but in any case, I really like this film, and I believe that I mentioned everything. I like the mask. I think it's very scary. I didn't mention that, but it's a scary mask. And yes, the scenes where the killer goes around are very scary. The killer, the voice actor, Roger L. Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, I really like his voice as Ghostface. But yes, this is a very good scary movie. So if I were to rate this movie on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd definitely give it a 9 out of 10 because of how good it was. It was such an entertaining, and it was good. The music is pretty good. The action, it's intense. It's very scary. So 9 out of 10 for me for this first Scream movie. What about you folks? What did you think about Scream? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below about your thoughts and views on this film. Thank you for watching. Sorry it took me a while to release another movie review, but I hope you enjoyed it. In the meantime, folks, thank you for watching, and have a nice day. And God willing, I'll see you next for another movie review. And I intend on doing more reviews of those. In the meantime, folks, stay safe, and goodbye, and take care. And this is Horror Town for you, signing off.